Hi, this is Deborah Atkinson, founder of The Voice for Fitness and the author of Navigating Fitness After 50, your GPS for choosing programs and professionals that you can trust. Hope you've read it, and if you haven't, pick it up or email me, and I'll tell you how you can get it really easily. I want to tell you a few things about what I've learned over 30 years of working with people who were over the age of 50. And now that I am over the age of 50, I know that the rules change. Rubbing elbows with people at conferences who are other fitness professionals who've been engaged in fitness for almost as long as I have, who've been really active, who suddenly also find, I'm still eating well, I'm just as active as ever, and the rules are changing. I can't eat like I did, I can't exercise like I did, and expect the results that I used to get. So I want to talk to you about why you can't lose the weight, the real reasons, if you're 50 or over. And sometimes it happens before that. But there are more than one reason. It is no longer, and really it never has been, about calories in and calories out. So stop feeling guilty that you've eaten too much. Stop feeling guilty that you haven't exercised enough. Eating well and activity and movement is very important for health overall, but there are other things involved. So I want to share with you some of those things so you can get the whole effect on weight loss or lack thereof, and maybe get some insight into what's your next step so you know where to go. So first of all, there's no discounting that if you are truly aware, and I want you to sit down with a fitness professional or email me, because I promise there's no charge. If you have questions and you don't know who to ask, it's really important that you talk to somebody who is not just giving you RDAs and reading textbook information to you, because we know too much now, that even what we knew 2 years ago, what's published in a textbook right now was actually probably written 3 or 4 years ago. Too much recent research is telling us there are hormones that come into play. There are stress pieces, hormones also, that come into play. There are things that happen through menopause. There are thyroid issues. There's a lot of things that come into play with why we can't lose weight that we know now that we did not. So get some advice from the fitness professional first on whether you indeed are eating well. An RD or nutritionist might be important, and whether you are exercising well for your goals, because we sometimes think that we are, but we're not. So get that advice. Okay, beyond that, let's say we have stress on a daily basis. If you have a heartbeat, you've got some stress. If you have a family, you have a lot of people in your life that you love, you have a job and work, love it or hate it, you've got stress around it. It doesn't matter. And positive stress, negative stress, your body responds the same. So it's really important that we learn how to deal with that, but most of all right now, just that you learn to acknowledge it, that you can't ignore it. Some people exercise and say that that helps them deal with stress. Indeed, it might. However, the exercise physical stress and the emotional stress that you have from other places all add up to a greater load that you're carrying. Your body might not be able to handle as much physical exercise when you're under a great deal of emotional stress, or it may respond or react differently. Your heart rate may be higher, or maybe too low. You may not be able to get it up, or you may be out of breath at a much lower intensity. All of that is normal. It's not that you're out of shape or extremely bad in terms of conditioning. It's just probably a part of the bigger picture we don't often look at. We lots of times ignore it and isolate. So we've got to deal with stress. We've got to deal with sleep. So as we age, probably real close to 50, some it's 45, for some it's not till 55, especially as females, we start to have greater challenges getting quality sleep consistently. So we may sleep great several nights in a row and then have one that was just out of the blue, out of the ordinary, but we really pay for it. And because of years of a little bit of sleep deprivation, We stayed up late as teens, we stayed up late in college, we stayed up late with babies. We have an accumulated sleep deprivation that has been shown actually in older adults, meaning 70s and 80s, to actually contribute to dementia. So I'm not saying that's where we're going, but it's not just as easy for you to bounce back if you're down on sleep. So this can also affect the load that you carry when you're trying to do physical activity. So we need to talk about nutrition. So if you're trying to really cut calories and you're dealing with a lot of stress and you're not getting quite enough sleep, is any of us? Or you're trying to really over-exercise and stay ahead of it and do more and be good and be virtuous, you actually are probably adding to the load by not getting enough nutrients. You're probably tending to cut out too many calories. So check with a nutritionist if you're not sure about that. But over 30 years, that's been a bigger issue, more common problem with many of my clients who reached a plateau. They did really well for the first 3 months, and then they hit that plateau and could not figure out. But the natural, intuitive process says, eat fewer calories, because I want to get off that plateau and try to continue the exercise or do more. And when your body is going like this, in the middle, it's left with, okay, whoa, you're starving me, but you want me to work harder. It's going to conserve energy. It's going to stop burning calories as well for you as it did. So we need to keep it fed and keep the activity good, quality. Sometimes up, sometimes down, but this stable. That's not intuitive. So stress, there's sleep, there's nutrition and your need for that. There's the need for the right physical exercise. So that's a given, right? I'm an exercise professional. You didn't expect to get through a video without any lecture on physical activity. It's not a lecture. But what you need to do is make sure that you're doing different kinds of physical activity. One of the things we're hearing a lot about right now is intervals, high intensity intervals. Are they good? Yes. Are they the only thing that's good? No. You need a balance. We need to do those high intensity intervals someday, and no matter what level you're at, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, you can. It's just choosing the mode safely, okay? So you need some help structuring what that is for you right now. When you first start, you need less work and more recovery. As you progress, you can balance work and recovery a little bit more. And only when you're really advanced should you have a longer workload than a recovery. What you'll find if you go to a high intensity interval training class is that's not what happens. Immediately, you're asked to do more work than recovery. So that can be dangerous if you're not conditioned for it first. So know who your exercise leader is and know the rules of gaining fitness. You got to build the foundation. Then you can build the penthouse, but you got to get there through the elevator, okay? So physical exercise of the right intensity, stress, sleep, nutrition. If you're doing all of those things really well, you're enhancing, finding ways to increase and enhance your sleep quality, you're reducing your stress, finding ways either to improve your circumstances, eliminate the stressors that you can, or to laugh and find friends to vent with. That also helps. And you're changing your nutrition, so you're getting adequate amounts of fat, carbohydrates, and protein for your body type and for your exercise type. And physical activity's there, but you're still not losing. That's where a lot of my clients start to get frustrated and convinced this just doesn't work. Or that genetically, your parents just set you up for bad genes and it's their fault. What you want to make sure that you do is eliminate anything that might be a problem. You've got to look at thyroid issues, okay? So I would go and I would definitely check out some of the things that could be causing you to have a sluggish metabolism that aren't related to stress, physical exercise, sleep, or nutrition. Because a sluggish metabolism is related to each one of these. And they all need to be integrated and working together. We got to get the whole team there first. And then let's look at what else. So don't forget that. And then remember, rest. So a lot of times we forget that rest is a big part of, and I don't mean just sleep, but rest in terms of go for a walk outdoors, garden for your activity on some days of the week. Don't feel like you have to go gangbusters on the elliptical trainer or go for a run in order to get the right amount of exercise. You need to factor in all of these things in order for you to find the optimal as far as weight loss or weight management goes. So if you have doubts or questions, use my email address. It's right on my website. I'll include it here on the screen, and click right here if you're interested in more tips and you're not already on the email list for active aging. So even if you're 50 and active aging sounds like a list that describes somebody else, I know that feeling. What else are we if we're not actively aging? So pursue it. So the next 50 years is going to be just as great as the first 50, and sometimes better. And I'll see you there.